101 Beats.
Family, you know we here, man. Meyer Levin, you know, representing,
Thank
man.
you, Grant. Thank
Give
you.
back to the community, give back to the kids. My old Alma Mater right here. Yeah, it's a pleasure. You know what I'm saying?
My big bro, man.
You know that. Yeah, big man thing, big man thing. This is the song that the big man sing. I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. Yeah, big dog thing, big dog thing. This is the song that the big dog sing. I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. Yeah, I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. It's a big man thing, big dog thing. Don't make me run up with that big tall thing. Please don't force my hand, I'm still a man. Please don't roll me, you done cross the fam. Listen, big man thing, big dog thing. You bring her to my door, say no more. Back a lot of memories, man. Good bad memories. Good memories of doing bad stuff. You know, I was handcuffed in my room right there. It's called a projection room. In the movies, when they show the films, they have me handcuffed in there. Security guard named Bernard. It's called a Robocop. They got in trouble, they handcuffed me. They had my dude. They had my dude up there. He was crying and stuff.
Give the panel a Meyer Levin welcome. Let's go, round of applause. They could have been anywhere today, but they chose to be here when they were asked to come and help us with certain issues that we're dealing with, especially in the male population here. So I'll just let each of them introduce themselves.
Good morning, guys. My name is Ray Rivera.
Good morning, my name is Wayne Dorsey.
Good morning, kids. My name is Saladin Bell, aka Big Grand.
So while we were planning this, we came up with questions so that we want you to connect to the panel and then understand their story and see how it might be similar to your story and understand that everyone overcomes obstacles different ways and everyone faces obstacles. And this is what we're focusing on today. How they got here despite or in spite of whatever obstacles they face. But we're going to get to the way you grew up.
I grew up in the Bronx, raised in Brooklyn.
I was born and raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
I was born in Brownsville, Brooklyn, raised in East Flatbush, right in this area where you guys, I went to the same school.
What is your biggest accomplishment to date?
I think my biggest accomplishment to date is where I've got myself in my career now. I guess I'll tell you now, I am an NYPD detective. I've been a detective for about 13 years now. And thank you. And my biggest accomplishment where I got from when I was being a rookie till now is I work for the Deputy Commissioner of Equity and Inclusion, which deals with a lot of racial, gender bias issues within the NYPD. So that's my biggest accomplishment I have.
My biggest accomplishment is keeping my brothers, my sisters out of trouble. Keeping brothers from going back to jail, back to detention centers, creating a family for myself so I could be a bigger role model to those around me.
Similar to what he said, my biggest accomplishment to this day is like my transition to positivity. Still dealing with it every day, demons with negativity. I have several properties, investment properties today. We have an online clothing boutique. I'm a devoted father and husband. And I couldn't see myself when I was y'all guys' age doing what I'm doing today. So that's a big thing for me. Being up here talking to you guys right now. When I was y'all guys' age, I got kicked out of the school. I went to the H man. So, to come back and talk to you guys is a blessing for me. So it shows you that at your age, I got kicked out of the same school. And I'm back today talking to you guys, giving you knowledge.
Good morning. My name is Selvin Hammock. I'm an interventional radiology registered nurse. I work at Wyckoff, just doing some real cutting edge, fun, saving life stuff. Biggest accomplishment to date. Where am I from? I'm from Brooklyn. Went to high school actually at South Shore High School. Started at automotive.
What obstacles that I faced growing up that led to poor choices? Similar to these brothers here. I grew up, my father died when I was 3 years old. My father was killed by a woman. All right? My father had a relationship outside of the relationship with my mother, and he was gonna marry my mother, and the woman killed him. So, at 3 years old, I was the man of the house. My whole family were jailbirds, drug addicts. My aunts were prostitutes. They all dead now. By the time I was 3 years old, I didn't have any aunts or uncles. I didn't have anybody to go to say, hi auntie or hi uncle, can you help me? Or grandma or granddad, because they were dead. They died from diseases or they died violently. So this is what I had to see growing up. I became the man of the house at 3. My cousins moved in with me from East New York because people were shooting out their house. The house was a drug spot. They were foster children living with my mother. My mother was their foster parent. So, I had to see all these things growing up. And I wanted to break the mold. Nobody in my family had barely a high school diploma or a college degree. I made it to college. I had a football scholarship. I played football next door right here at Tilden. I went to Iowa. Football saved my life. My mother had a record deal at 12. My sister had record deals. She toured around the world. She did Broadway, off-Broadway. My brother had record deals, and they were actors as well. So I pursued the music and acting and entertainment. I took mass media, production in college. So, I was striving for the best that I could be, but it didn't start off that way. Like these brothers here, I too was in the gang, And to this day, I still govern over youth that is in gangs, whether it's red, blue, black, green, I don't care which you are. Because you are taught to look at the person that you're fighting with, that they're not a human. You dehumanize them. Now they're blood, now they're crip. Now it's BK, CK, GDK, it's all that. But you're not thinking. Yeah, I'm in tune. I hear what's going on in here. I get the complaints. I hear y'all talking. But y'all don't really know what y'all saying. Y'all don't really know. Y'all just think it's a fashion. Until you go to a funeral. Until you go to prison. Well, we did all that for you already. So we here trying to tell you, you don't have to do that. Some of you think you tough. Some of you think that, what are these guys saying is whack. Right? It's corny, right? Real gangsters, your family gangster, guys, you could do it, right? You see dudes who got on all the drip, all the money, but they don't have not one job. They don't have not one degree. They don't have nothing. They living day by day. You don't want to be like that dude. You want to have a plan. Not everybody's good at academics. So I wouldn't encourage you all to say, I'm going to go to college. If you don't want to go to college, then pick up a trade. Do something with your life from now. Plan your life from now. Not everybody's going to be making money off of nothing. You think you're going to go pick up a pack, or you're going to do this, you're going to scam, you're going to do this. That doesn't work for everybody. Some people go to jail. Some people die. Some people get locked up. Some people get hurt. It's part of the game. That's why it's called a game. But life is not a game. So don't play games with your life. You know, I'm pretty sure half the things that I told you just now, you didn't have to deal with. You know, I was here from 1993 to 94. I say the beginning of 1995. You know, I didn't have the luxury of having drip when I was little. Tommy Hilfiger was a big, you know, drip when I was young. You know, Polo and all that. Now y'all got Dior and Gucci. Yeah, it's crazy. But when I was young, we couldn't afford that, you know. So I had a cousin who went to Somers, and I had a friend that went to Winthrop. They came up to the school to rob kids for Tommy Hilfiger. I was mad because I seen them robbing the kids at my school, and I wasn't gonna get none. So my dumb behind went there and took off from a kid who I grew up with from young. Took off everything. Came back to school the next day. They had the police waiting for me. The security guard, his name was Bernard, we used to call him RoboCop. They locked me up in that room right there. It's a projector room. Yeah. They had me handcuffed to a bench. Me and the other kid. The other kid was crying like a baby. And he told me, yeah, man, you tough, because you ain't crying, you ain't scared. I said, nah, when my mother get here, it's a different story. You know, I feared my mother and I respected my mother. So you gotta respect your parents. If you don't respect your parents, you can't respect anyone else. Your parents show you who raised you and how you were raised. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How you doing? Have a nice day. You reflect your parents. So if you embarrass yourself, you're embarrassing your parents when they come up here. You know, you got a choice to make, a choice that I didn't. Like I said, the year that I got in trouble and I got kicked out of here was 94. My mother's been clean of drugs since then. It's almost 30 years my mother's not on drugs. You know, if she could do it, I could do it, you could do it. It's not impossible. You got a chance right now. I know it's kind of hard. Sometimes you feel the pressure of your friends. You see them doing things. You're curious. Find somebody that is older that you look up to that's positive. You don't always have to be a fireman or a cop or the regular thing, but look for somebody that's positive. You see them doing things in life, get next to them. You know, because if you get next to them, it'll rub off on you. And that's what I did. My cousin played football. He's my big cousin. I went to my 11, he went to Tilden, right next door. And I went to Roy H. Mann when I got kicked out of my 11. That's when I met Safari and all these guys that's on TV. I played football with Tilden when I was in 8th grade. Before I was in the school, because my cousin wasn't ready in the school. So I practiced with them my whole 8th grade year. My freshman year, I came in on the team, and I played till I graduated. I graduated at 17 years old.
The OGs, we call them, right? The biggest OG I'm gonna tell you guys is really my pops. My pops is really the biggest OG, keeping it real. Before him, though, I used to call OGs my hood guys in the street. But one of my OGs showed me that he wasn't really down for me when I got suspended from automotive, and my dad kind of grounded me. He was like, listen, you're not going outside. Mind you, I had a 99 GPA all through freshman and sophomore year of high school. I'm a nerd by trade. It's just that, like I told you guys, I wanted to be down. So when I joined the gang, following the OGs, Pops pulled up on me and was like, listen, ain't no more of that. You staying at home, come straight home from school after practice, I want you in the house. So my OG in the hood was like, nah, you not cool no more. So I was working summer youth. He ran down on me at the train station right at Winthrop. I came out the train station, my shirt and tie, feeling good, coming from work. Ran down on me and was like, bro, where you been? I'm like, dog, my pops told me I can't come outside. I'm grounded for a couple weeks. He was like, I'm not trying to hear that. He pulled a knife on me at the train station. Was like, yo, run your pockets. Have my knife on me too, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, yo, listen, one of us is going down for this, because I'm not getting robbed by my OG the dudes you're supposed to be looking up to, the dudes you're supposed to be watching your back and showing you the way. Like my man over here said, they're not the OGs, fellas. They're really not. Your parents, your mentors, your big brothers, your teachers, teammates, classmates, those are the people you should be looking up to. Not no OGs in the street wearing red, blue, black. I wore black for mad years thinking I was hood. So like I said, I think my father was the biggest influence in my life because he really didn't allow me to go down a bad path. After getting kicked out, he was like, listen, you staying in the house, and I ended up getting kicked out of automotive, like I said, ended up right here down the block of South Shore, and it really kind of changed my life in terms of like, all right, I didn't migrate from Jamaica to be a loser. Definitely didn't come here to not be successful. So, you know, good guidance, good parents, those are really the people you should be looking up to in terms of who to follow. I feel like I'm just repeating back, honestly, what everybody up here is saying, because we're all kind of from the same generation, the same times. He went to Tilden, I went to South Shore, and I'm sure we can share similar stories of the gang fights that we were all a part of right here on Ralph, right here in front of Meyer Levin. I got into fights right here, right down the block at South Shore, right on Ralph, so I don't want to keep repeating what all the brothers up here have said, because we're literally, like you said, we've already lived it for you guys. We've already done it for you guys. You guys are fighting over Gucci, Dior. We was fighting over Polo and Polo neck this and different. We couldn't even wear different clothing because different clothing meant, different clothing meant different gangs. Adidas was a different gang. Polo was a different gang. It was just real silly at the time. If you wore an LA hat, you was Crip. If you wore a Boston hat, you were Blood. LA's Dodgers baseball team and the Boston Red Sox don't got nothing to do with the Bloods, but yet we sat around and followed them around like a bunch of idiots. Really and truly, we were all just a bunch of followers at some point, and my dad just reinforced it into me like, my man, you're a leader. I didn't bring you here to follow nobody because they were wearing red or they were wearing white or wearing black. None of that matters in the grand scheme of it all. So I would say my father is the biggest influence in my life growing up so far.
So for me, it took a while for me to turn my life around. So as I said before, I really grew up in a family full of drug dealers and gang members. I really did. My father was all in gangs and fighting in Brownsville like every week in the projects, fighting family versus other families in the projects. It was a lot. But seeing my father, you know, honestly, he was out of jail up until 50. That's pretty recent, honestly. My father's not that old. He's only like 57, honestly. So it took him, almost 30 years to get his act together, and then see my cousins, going through the gangs and fighting, and then eventually getting out. And then I said to myself, I'm not trying to go to jail. I was like, it ain't for me. Jail is not for me, you know. But I had to be the person in my family to say, you know what, I don't have to be the same. Like, I don't have to fit in. I don't have to let me go out and sell drugs or join some gang just to feel comfortable, fit in, and not look like I'm on the outside of, you know, this unnormal group being by yourself. But then that's why I just said to myself, you know what, their bad actions made me want to be positive, do something different in our family to start a different legacy of, you know, you don't have to do the norm of what back then was, you know, was drug dealing and joining gangs, and that was the norm. It was quick money, you were safe, and it was what it was. But I can say, now be different, and then if I'm different, maybe our cousins behind me will say, you know what, I don't have to follow in our family footsteps. And, you know, everybody went and got different trades, whether it's construction, medical fields. I have a lot of teachers in my family, honestly, now principals in my family. Everybody went to different paths. And then I was never planning to become a cop because I always said sometimes cop is not for everybody, you know. But you know, do anything else, whether it be city work, I always tell people go to a federal level, no matter what kind of job, become a federal level in any type of, you know, career choice that you choose. So I think my family was my biggest support, plus my mom. My mom, again, was a single mother my entire life, and she was the biggest support of, you know, don't be like your father. Don't be like the typical stereotype black man, you know, doing the same thing, getting roughed by the cops, going to jail. And my mother was my biggest supporter. That was the who hit me a lot. She didn't believe in belts, whips. It was all fists and hands. That was it. Now I think it's illegal. You can't do that anymore nowadays, but I think that's half the problem. But now that was the biggest part of me changing with my mom. It really was.
I
at what point in my life did I decide to turn things around? Mine was in 2009. Well, at the age of 13 to 18, for 5 years, I was affiliated with the Bloods around my neighborhood in East Flatbush. And, you know, they do their typical things, what gang members do, commit crimes, get into criminal act. I was once upon a time part of that, you know, going out there to try to beat down. Because best believe, if you would have put me by myself in the streets, I would have did none of that. None of that, what I did, selling drugs, cutting school, running away from home, you know. If you put me by myself, I would have never did it. It's when I got around other people, it's when I started to show off. And at the age of 19, my brother was gunned down out here in Brooklyn in 2009. He was killed. He was shot 11 times, execution style, on the top of the roof of the building in East Flatbush. And apparently I was there at the wrong time, you know, wrong place, wrong time. And so my so-called friends who I so-called grew up with had told the police that I set it up. I done heard a lot. I set it up. I did it. It was a lot of, you know, accusations, you know. And it put me in a situation where now I have to go fight for my life. Because now I'm 19 years old, facing 30 to life for something I didn't even do, or, you know, have no knowledge or no clue of. But, like I said, prior to those cases, I was catching cases, marijuana, robberies, whatever. So they had me in programs, Fortune Society out there in Queens. And I was attending to those programs until eventually I got caught up at the event of my brothers getting killed and all of that. And, you know, I was sitting up, I did 5 years. So, and within those 5 years, like I said, I never went to no medium camp, no minimum facilities, all in the max. So I'm bidding with fellas who's doing 30, 60, natural life, never coming home. These cats don't got nothing to lose. So every day you walking out your cell and you hearing people getting stabbed, cut, even police officers, even female officers was getting, you know, hit with scalpels and all of that. It's crazy, it's a crazy jungle. But what really made me turn my life around is when my mom intentionally killed herself while I was in jail. Because I still had my fathers. It's 9 of us, 5 boys, 4 girls, you know? And I still had my father. I still had my grandmother. I still had my uncle who was like a superhero to me. And when my mom killed herself, I said to myself, who's next? It could be my father, it could be my grandmother. I didn't want to experience that. You know, crying in your cell, hiding my pictures so I can't see my mom, hiding these letters so they don't remind me of nothing of her, but wasn't escaping nothing because it goes right back into that same cycle of me crying and dealing with these heavy depressions. I contemplated suicide before. I wanted to kill myself in that cell. They had a correctional officer in front of my cell because I was on suicide watch. Because I didn't have nothing to lose. I didn't want to be in this world no more. But then I said I have brothers. I didn't have no kids at the time. And I still had a life ahead of me. So when I came home from jail in 2014, I never went back. I never went back. You know? And due to the grace of God, I was able to get my felony sealed, which means I could work in any job, any city, any jobs I want. But the hassle that I had to go through to get that, it was hectic. So for me, it was prison and the gang street life. You know, that's what made me turn my life around because there was nothing there for me. Nothing there for me. I didn't have one of my so-called friends who gave me those guns and those bandanas and all of that. I never had one of them send me a $20 money order when I was in prison, a visitation, a phone call, none of that. I didn't have that. So who was my friend? You know who was my friend? My shadow. That was my friend, my shadow. He followed me everywhere I went. He didn't touch me, he didn't bother me, he didn't talk. He just followed me everywhere I went. But then when I met my wife, Miss Rivera, for those who don't know, my wife is Miss Rivera. She's the one who invited me here, Miss Avis also. But when I came with reunited with Miss Rivera, we knew each other for more than 20 years. You know, I went to school with her brothers, and you know, I always had respect for her and her brothers. As I got older, you know, we made decisions to be as one, and she was my biggest supporter. Like I said, I sold drugs, so I didn't know nothing about debit cards or credit cards. I used to sell crack and weed, and all my money was in my pocket, sneakers, until she showed me, yo, get a bank account. And I don't play with these cards, I don't do this, I don't do that. My credit is 763 now. Yeah. Which means that if I don't got no money, I could just swipe that card and pay what I have to pay later down the line. You get what I'm saying? There's no such thing as fast money. All money is not good money. The best money is after you get that diploma, that bachelor degrees, that master. That's where the real money comes in.
You know, like I said, I was in the streets as a young lad, like you guys' age right now. You know, times change, people don't. You know, I was a guy who didn't really like to have enemies. You know, I want everybody to like me. You know, I didn't like if somebody disliked me. It didn't sit with me well. You know, so I craved a lot of attention, and I didn't know it. You know, so I mean, I could say I was a leader, but I was a bit of a follower myself. So you guys have to train your minds to be leaders. You know, I had children, and I got married. And the day after, I think it was the day before my baby shower, after, I was in prison. I was in jail, rather. And I was sitting there, and I'm like, yo, I'm getting too old for this. You know, it was some young guys in the cell, and you know, in my neighborhood, they call me the big homie. You know, and they don't call me the big homie because I'm walking around telling dudes what to do, you know, and not doing it myself. You know, I'm hands-on in my neighborhood, my community, you know, and I've gotten guys jobs, gotten guys in school, you know, I've helped with programs, so, you know, they call me the big homie. But before that, I was called the big homie for the wrong reasons, you know, and once I seen some younger guys in the cell next to me, and they was like, yo, Grant, what's up, big homie, what's good? And the first thing they said was, what are you doing here? And I was embarrassed. And I was like, yo, what am I doing? So, you know, I got out, and I started, you know, doing business with my wife. You know, I got business with my kids. My son is a boxer. You know, my cousin is Zab Judah, 6-time world champion. You know what I'm saying? I started giving toys to kids in the hospital, food to the homeless. You know, we started getting to the ground, you know, from the ground up. So I could say, like, my cousin Zab Judah, he's a big reason why I changed my life around at this point. You know, my mother, you know, she's a foster parent. She takes care of children. She took care of my whole family. You know, I was raised by a mother. My father died at an early age, like some of you guys here. Some of you guys here are just raised with your mothers. Some of you guys here protect your mother. Some of you guys are your mother's husbands right now and don't even know it. You know, some of you guys are your own father right now and don't even know it. And I can identify with that. So, you know, my mother was like one of my biggest inspirations because I wanted to make her proud. You know, like I said, nobody in my family had college degrees and diplomas like that, including my mother. My mother had her first child at 13. At some of you guys' age right here, my mother was pregnant, having a child. Can you imagine having a child at your age right now? No, you can't. She did. My mother wasn't allowed to get certain education because she had children at a very young age. You know, you guys, I don't know how it is now. You guys thinking about sex. I don't know. You guys, you know, you're at the age of puberty. You know, you're getting pimples and stuff, getting little feelings and stuff. Try to keep it in your pants. You know, Don't rush to grow up. You got a long life ahead of you if you do it right. Okay? You know, watching my mother grow up, she had kids young. I didn't want to have kids young because she had them young. My mother was stressed out daily. She didn't get to live her life the way she really wanted to. My mother's a talented lady. You know, she just sung the national anthem the other day for a boxing match. She's still pursuing her dream. You know what I'm saying? It's never too late. But if you do it right now, early, you don't have to wait until you're older. You can start early, so stay focused. Because like they said, when you get in trouble, the only people that's gonna come to you and your rescue is your family. That's 100,000%. None of the homeboys, none of the homies, they ain't coming. I'm gonna tell you again, they're not coming. They're not bailing you out. They're not writing you. They're not doing anything. They're not visiting you. Nothing. So all that loyalty to the gang, you already know. No. No. That's not it. Alright? Yeah? This guy right here? What's your name?
Solomon.
You know who Solomon was? Solomon was a great man. You know that? One of the wisest, strongest men that ever lived on this earth. So you're gonna be that ain't Solomon's style. You know what I'm saying? My name is Saladin. I was a big emperor. You know, he saved the religion of Islam in the Crusades. I don't know if you're learning about this now, but you're gonna learn about my name sooner or later, Salahuddin. You cannot embarrass yourself or your parents. They named you Solomon as a king. You were named after a king, one of the strongest, richest, and wisest men who ever lived on this earth. Don't embarrass yourself or your parents trying to be GDK. You know what GDK mean? Good gangster disciple killer. You ain't even killed none but a roach. That's it, like, let's be serious here, you know what I'm saying? Don't set yourself up for failure, man. Those are young, melanated kings as yourself. Melanated meaning you have pigmentation in your skin and you agree with the sun. A lot of people can't agree with the sun. We are children of the sun, children of the earth. It's a lot deeper things that you don't know about yourself. Don't ever let nobody think that you are lower than what you are. Step outside the box. If everybody's walking this way, take a step this way for a second. So now, I'm not trying to say it's anything good in gangs or anything bad. But if you give it back to your community, that's beautiful. But if you're destroying it, tearing it down, that's terrible. So you're promoting death. You're promoting killing. We're saying 3 letters. Those 3 letters, if the wrong person heard you say that, what do you think they're gonna do to you? Don't be a statistic. A statistic is a person who is just doing what everybody else is doing. And they become a victim. You're gonna learn about this in economics. People tally how much people do suicides, homicides every year, every day. They're gonna say 50 million black boys joined gangs and died. You wanna be one of those guys? You want them ringing your bell and ringing your phone saying, excuse me, Miss Solomon, yes, we're sorry to say it's not with you anymore. You want your mother, father to hear that? So why are you wishing that on another young man? That's what you're saying when you say GDK. You're saying you want another young man's parents to feel sad for their son not being here. Because you took him out. You gotta know what you're saying, man. You gotta know what you're saying. You're saying you're a killer. You ain't no killer, man. I see you greater than the killer. You gotta see that in yourself. You understand what I'm saying to you? Don't let nobody fool you, man. I did it. I did it. I ain't talking, I'm talking to you. I did it. I've hurt people bad, broad daylight, in the street, embarrassing my parents, embarrassing my people who love me. Thinking I'm cool getting props and people saying my name and I'm lit. My name was ringing bells. I'm out there, yeah, big grand. Stomp your head in. You are destroying your own life. Because what goes around comes around. Believe that. So life is what you make it. Believe in yourself too. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and cannot be or what you can and cannot do. If you have a vision in yourself and you see yourself doing something that's just positive and you want to do it, pursue that. Don't let nobody tell you you can't do it. I don't care what it is. Right? He's a performer. I'm an actor, brother. I'm a performer myself. I've been in many television shows, agencies. I know a lot of people. I'm an artist as well, but I manage artists now. You know? Got my own companies. So we could talk. I get your info. We could do something. If you want to go to acting school, I got links. All right? You ain't got to be around here doing what you're doing right now, all right?
There's some good advice you're giving out here, brother. I'm sitting here taking it from you. I feel like I'm sitting over there. Like, you know what, though? I do remember brothers like ourselves coming and talking to us when we were this age, but it really just didn't click and sit well with us when we were you guys' age. So I would say, honestly, the biggest advice I could give all of you guys in here right now, be leaders. Don't be followers. Never. I think my father really instilled that in me when he used to tell me, you're not a follower. I brought you here to lead. When you're amongst a group of men, I want you to step forward and I want you to lead. I don't want you to be the follower. I don't want it to be like, oh, Selvin's behind us. No, you're in the front. You're leading. Every team I've ever been a part of, I've been a captain. Every group I've ever been a part of, I've been a leader. Right now, I'm the interventional radiology nurse, head nurse of the entire department because I refuse to be the follower behind it all. Obviously, let me not jump ahead. In order for you to be a leader, you're going to have to follow at some point. Every chief was an Indian before he was a chief, but at some point, while you're an Indian, while you're following, you know, grab a hold of those leadership traits. Look into what are the things that allow you to be in the front. Those are the things you really want to be are important to you. And education, it really is the key.
Just something to piggyback off on, like you guys made me think about was, so I'm gonna give you a little bit about just my career, what I've experienced. So, and I think just piggyback off that, it's like, don't be a follower, because I promise you, if you think that a bunch of you, a group of y'all is doing bad things together makes y'all friends, it's not, because when it all said and done and you end up in a precinct with me, I can guarantee you, I can take 7 of you in this room right now, I promise you, 5 of you are gonna snitch. That's just, you are. No matter, you're tough, and outside in the street, don't be a follower. Just stick to what you know, just go a different paths, do good. I promise you, it'll come back to you in life, and later on in life, it really will. Like he said, you don't want to become a statistic, you really don't. I think in the 13 years I've been cops, I've seen hundreds of dead bodies, and after a while it gets annoying. And it's sad to say annoying, but it gets annoying after a while. Because I worked in East New York, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, and Harlem. It's just, those are areas, majority of all black people, it's only black. So you see a lot of black dead kids. It gets annoying after a while, but I think if you stay strong and just do right, don't be afraid to be different, you'll make it, honestly, you really will.
Question was, would I prefer you guys to go? Okay, we have one place on Pennsylvania Avenue and Liberty Avenue. They do PAL there. My cousin is an organizer there. He's a counselor. So that's Pennsylvania Avenue, East New York, Liberty Ave. They have every program you could think of in there. If you want to do recording studio, if you want to shoot videos, if you want to do nursing, if you want to be a boxer, basketball, football, whatever you want to do is in that building. On Pennsylvania Avenue and Liberty. Howard Keller, if you guys want to organize, I call her Sade. If you want to organize, yeah, Miss Avis, if you want to holler at her, she'll holler at me, and we'll keep that going. And like I said, to stay busy. Stay busy. Stay busy. Alright? We're gonna wake y'all up before we leave here. 'Cause I got a 12-year-old daughter myself, you know? And I tell her these talks every day. Stay busy. My mother told me idle hands is the devil's workshop. You heard that? That means if you ain't doing nothing, trouble gonna find you. You understand? So, you know, I got kids that's doing boxing right now. My cousin Zab Judah, they have a gym on Lafayette and Malcolm X and Bed-Stuy. Like I said, if you want to name Miss Avis, you know, they do training for kids as well. So if you dudes want to box, want to take out your aggression, you know, you could do that. Want to learn a trade, might possibly get you to be successful, give you discipline. You know, boxing, take out your aggression. You could beat up a bag. You ain't gotta beat up nobody, and then you can still get money in the belt later in the future. You know how to protect yourself. You know how to protect your family members, but also have discipline so you'll be hurting other people for no reason. You know, be a man, be a woman. I see some young ladies in here too as well. You know, you gotta be a person of your word. Oh yeah, I seen one of the toughest ones grow up to be great people. You know, MC Light, she's from East Flatbush, she's from the 90s. MC Light is a little tough one. You see what she's doing today. So just because you do something now or your ways and what you are now, you won't beat that in the future. Like I said, I played football, I thought I was going to the NFL. That didn't work out. You know, I went to college. I was like, I'm gonna go do this and do that. That didn't work out. I wanted to be a super rapper. Did a lot of things. That didn't work out. You know, things don't always work out to where you want them to be. I did, you know, little court cases, jail stints, little stuff, programs, stupidness in the streets that hindered me from really, you know, reaching the goals that I wanted to in life. So what I do today is I'm behind the scenes in a lot of business. You know, I'm doing a lot of filming. You know, I'm doing a lot of sports with the kids with boxing and stuff like that. I'm giving back to the community. The first letter in CRIP is community. You know what I'm saying? The first letter in blood, B, is brotherly love. Blood, brothers, over oppressive depression. These things that you guys are claiming, you don't even know that they mean things. It's not just something we just, no. You know, bow. None of that. It started with community and brotherly love. This C means community. Revolution and progress. You understand? A revolution means change in your community. You know what progress means? I'm pretty sure we all know what progress means. So you gotta live that. That's what you gotta do. Don't always think you're gonna be a basketball player. There's a million basketball players in here. I can tell you right now, half of y'all is not going to, more than half of y'all is not going to the NBA. There might be one in here to go to the NBA. Oh yeah. Think outside the box. Baseball is the highest paying sport. Come think outside the box. Like I said, I played football, I got to college, I said, oh no, I got a little bit of time to go. I don't know if NFL gonna be knocking on my door. I gotta switch it up. You understand? So, like I said, if you want any programs or anywhere to go, holla at Miss Avis and she'll tell me. So y'all can ask some questions real quick.
This was great when Avis came to me asking me if I had any ideas and like what was going on. They're gonna ask you questions. Any information that you think of after, you can email or contact Ms. Avis and we can forward it to them. Hopefully they got as much as I got out of this because I really heard a lot of things that were like, wow, oh, I didn't know that. So, you know, you're never too old to learn, 50. And I'm learning every day. I always say a day you don't learn is a day you wasted. All right, so our first question comes from your name.
My name is Messiah. My question is, if you could go back in your past and change one thing, what would you change?
What would I go back and change? Two things. Pride. I would say ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. And joining a gang. Two things. Keep it sort of simple. There was a contest on television. I don't know if you guys heard. I think it's called Family Matters. They got Steve Urkel. I'm kind of old, but anyway, they got this show, right? It was on television, so you had to play like Steve Urkel, like a nerd. I did that for my family. I did it very well. I'm an actor. So it was time. They had a contest. They wanted you to send in a tape acting like Steve Urkel. So I was acting like Steve Urkel for the family every day. Hi, Laura. All that stuff. So then now, fast forward, they're like, yo, we're going to do this contest and you could be on TV and stuff. So I said, I'm not doing it. So they're like, why? I'm like, because I don't want nobody to say I'm a punk. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. They're like, what are you talking about? You do it every day for us, for the family. Well, I said, nah, but when they get out there, people going to think I'm a punk. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I'm not doing it. So I tried to be tough. I was younger than you guys. Probably was like 10, 11. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So, my parents, I wish they would have pushed me more and not listen to what I was feeling or saying. But they said, all right, scrap it. Years later, as a grown man, I'm watching television, and they asking this lady, how does she get started in showbiz? And she said, well, there was this Steve Urkel contest. I entered it, and I was on television. I remember that day to this day when they brought those kids on television. None of them kids were better than me as Steve Urkel. And you know who that little girl was? Alicia Keys.
Now y'all listening, right? Now y'all listening.
Alicia Keys started from that same competition that I would have won. You understand? So she grew up in show business. I grew up in the hood. You understand? So that was one mistake that I regret. But also was joining the gang because it didn't happen right away. I was one of those dudes who was like, yo, it's this West Coast thing. What are we doing? We East Coast. This is crazy. Now that we jumping in this, if I'm Crip, I got beef for the blood. Like, who was the Bloods? I don't even know them. Why am I have beef with them for? Oh, I'm wearing blue and they wearing red, but I can't wear red no more. I liked red at the time. I said, I can't wear red no more. What's going on? I just say, yo, keep a plan B. Understand what I'm saying? It ain't about I'm gonna make it to the NFL. Now you can. I'm not saying you can't. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Whatever you put your mind to. But you have to be a student athlete. Student is first. You can't be an athlete. You gotta be a student athlete. So you gotta get great grades in order to get into schools. I didn't have great grades. I went to Tilden High School, and then I went to Nassau Community College, because Nassau Community College took in the athletes that were great, but didn't have great grades. So I had to go to junior college to get my grades up, and then go to another college that would set me. I tried to go to Division I. They have 3 divisions of sports. I don't know how it is now, but okay. So 3, Division 1, 2, 3. I was trying to go to 1. Everybody's dream is go to 1. That didn't happen. I went to a school in Iowa through a frat brother and a coach. And, I did what I did. And once I realized, like, okay, what are my chances of going to the NFL? Very slim. So I have to figure this thing out called life. I figure out what I want to do. I wanted to be in show business, so that's what I pursued. So get a plan B. You said you a singer, don't give up on that either. That's a good career too. Now, even if you're famous, you could sing for bar mitzvahs, weddings. They make a lot of money. You can write for people as well. Just get your mind in tune for that now, not later. Football is good, but have a backup.
I want to thank you guys again. Gentlemen, you were phenomenal. Your message was heard. Everybody up, on your feet, let's go. Hello, everybody up.
Big mountain, big mountain. This is the song that the big man sing. Bring a whole bag, I put that on everything. song that the big dog sing. I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. Yeah, I bring her home the bag, I put that on everything. It's a big man thing, big dog thing. Don't make me run up with that big tall thing. Please don't force my hand, I'm still a man. Please don't roll me, you done cross the fam. Listen, big man thing, big dog thing. You bring her to my door, say no more, small thing.
Night vision.